Hi guys, let's start with CentOS installation in VirtualBox. We will use open source VirtualBox software and CentOS DVD ISO file. Toggle the mouse control between host operating system and guest operating system. We will use the right control key, and for the virtual machine, we will use sysadmin as the root password and DBA user as the dbadmin user password. We can download VirtualBox from this screen. Based on the operating system, Windows, Linux or Mac version of the VirtualBox can be downloaded and installed. I have Linux computer, so VirtualBox is already installed in my computer. To download the CentOS DVD ISO file, we can go to this page and choose the DVD ISO file to download. These are the many links that are available from where we can download the ISO file. I have already downloaded the ISO file, so let's start with the installation. We'll click on New in VirtualBox and name the virtual machine as CentOS Vertica. And we will proceed with the default option selected without any change. In next screen, we will increase the memory size to 8 gigs. At least 2 gigs are recommended. If you have more memory, you can allocate more memory. In next screen, we will choose the default option, create a virtual hard disk now. And we will choose the default option, VirtualBox disk image as the file type. And choose the default option, dynamically allocated, so that full space is not allocated at the first instance. And we will create a VDI file with size of almost 40 gigs. And we will create the virtual machine. Once done, we have to make some changes in the settings. In storage, we will use the CentOS DVD ISO file as the CD-ROM. So we will click on the empty CD-ROM image and choose the CentOS DVD ISO file. And in the networking section, we will change to bridged adapter. We will choose wireless interface of the Ethernet card. And in the advanced property, we will allow the virtual machine to use the Ethernet connection. And we are done with the configuration. So let's start with the CentOS installation. In this screen, mouse will not work, so we have to use up arrow down arrow key and choose the option install CentOS 7 and press enter. This is the first screen where mouse will be used for the first time. So we'll get a message to capture the mouse pointer, and right control is the key to toggle. So we'll just click on the capture button. And after clicking on the continue button, if the screen is not changing, we will just use tab and spacebar to select this option. This is the installation summary screen. As we can see, date, time, keyboard layout and language supports are already selected, and the installer is selecting the installation source and software selection media. In the software selection, we will change from minimal install to server with graphical user interface. Also, we will install the FTP server as the default installation. We'll click on Done. Next configuration is the installation destination or the hard disk partitioning process. So we'll go to that menu and choose I will configure partitioning option and click on Done. Here in this screen, we will choose standard partition and click on plus button to add partition. We will mount the root file system with capacity of around 38 gigs. And then we'll change the file system type from XFS to ext3. We have around 2200 MB available, so we will use this space as the swap space, which will work as a system RAM for the Linux operating system. Few kilobytes of memory will be unallocated and will show as available space, but we are good with that. This is the summary of changes, so we have to accept. If the mouse click is not working, we have to use tab and spacebar. Next section is the networking section. So we will allow the networking and the IP address will be shown as 192.168.0.21, which is a local wireless internet IP from host operating system. And in the host name, we will delete the local domain part and only keep the local host as the host name. We will apply and then click on Done. So let's start with the installation now. We can see the partition manager is working and creating the partitions in the virtual hard disk. While this is in progress, we will set the root password and user password. For the root password, we will use the value sysadmin. We'll click on Done twice. And for the user dbadmin, we will use password dba-user. And we will click on Done twice. So partition manager is done with the partition creation and it's starting the installation process. As we can see, around 1300 packages will be installed for this CentOS server installation. So we will pause the recording for some time and come back when the installation is almost done. as we can see, all the package installations are completed and post-installation setup tasks are running now. So we will just wait for it to finish. Based on the allocated RAM, it might take 20 minutes to 40 minutes time to complete the full installation process. Once the bootloader installation is complete, the system will reboot. So let's wait for that option. Few more minutes with the initialization of the software. And we are done. So we will click on the button which is not visible properly due to the size limit option. After clicking this button, the system will reboot. Now we are in the bootloader screen, so we will choose the first option, CentOS Linux. Now in this screen, we have to click on Done and then accept the license or the end user license agreement for CentOS 7. We will click on Done and we will click on Finish Configuration button. So now we are in the login screen for the DBadmin user. We will click on this and use password DBA user sign in. Few more configuration will appear during the first sign in. This is the initial configuration or the welcome screen. We will click on next. We will not connect any of our cloud accounts with this operating system, so we just skip and click on start using CentOS Linux button. This is another getting started screen which we have to close. Now our system is ready. See you guys in the next chapter.